Hello my friends and welcome back to another video. We're back to Crimson Gray, this time part 7. So as we left off last time, Lizzie may have had a bit of a problem with our partner for our science projects, and we are once again seeing Miss Smith. So let's carry on, shall we? John, there you are. Mind if we jump straight into business today? Sure, that's fine. Before he could stop himself, he'd already agreed with her. John sighed and gave up as he lay down on the couch. This was the one day he actually wanted to discuss more with her, but it was easy for him to fold when others were forceful. At least the therapy session made him feel a little better. It was like a low hum in the back of his mind, drowning out everything else and giving him plenty of time to think through exactly what he wanted to do. There were two questions: if there was anything he could do to help Lizzie, and if he needed to do anything to protect others from her. It was a naughty issue. Sorry, and that's a naughty, if you're listening, not actually watching the video, naughty as in like a not naughty as in like, the naughty list. But by the end of the therapy session, as he got up to leave, he felt like he had his answer. Okay, another choice. Well then, shall we save it for multiple choices later on? Alright, so our choices are: ask Miss Smith if there's any way to prevent violence, leave without saying anything, ask Miss Smith about how to stabilize a person, go straight to Lizzie and resolve the situation. Come now. There's only two options we can choose from here. We can either leave without saying anything, or go straight to Lizzie and resolve the situation. And, of course, as I always say, it's always best to resolve situations. The only thing I'm worried about is that if we don't get a choice and John says something stupid. Let's take our gamble here and go straight to Lizzie and resolve the issue. There was no sense dragging things out or being indirect. John left a note in Lizzie's locker asking her to meet him on the roof after school. John, do you need something? I need to be honest with you, Lizzie. Of course, always. You're angry that I have... I was a little worried that it would be too direct with this. But let's play it out, see how it goes. If we need to roll it back, we'll roll it back. You're angry that I have a girl as my lab partner, aren't you? Yes. Do you honestly think I'd cheat on you with her? No, John would never do that. Then why do you want to hurt her? It's fine if you can't tell me, but you shouldn't do that, Lizzie. I want you to be focused on me, not other people. Oh, John, that was actually clever. That was clever, John. Okay, so he does understand her mindset, but that was clever. Let's see what he says next. I'll ask if I can't switch partners, and maybe this weekend we can go out again. But in return, will you promise me you won't hurt anyone? Okay. In that case, I won't press you anymore. I'll ask about changing partners today. I promise. Now, I don't want to keep you... Wait. John is too kind. I have to protect you. I know you would never try to hurt me, but this girl, she's evil. She'll put on a false face and trick you, and you'll be too kind to resist her. And then... Lizzie, that isn't going to happen. It makes me happy to hear you say that. But do you believe it? Or am I going to find out she died of some mysterious causes soon? No, I promise. I won't hurt her. But you still need to be protected. You don't understand how tricky girls can be. But if John doesn't want me to hurt anyone, I'll just have to protect you by being the best girlfriend in the world. It's settled. I won't murder anyone, and you'll take me out on a date every weekend for the rest of the school year. Well, it's nice we reached some agreement. Let's start right now. Hey, okay. Alright. That was good. That was good, John. Good job. I'm proud of you, John. Proud of you. Several days passed without incident, then several weeks. Eventually, he began to relax and trust that Lizzie really wasn't going to harm anyone. Though I do still have a bad feeling, especially based on the just sudden skip of a few weeks. He did manage to get his lab partner reassigned. It felt incredibly awkward to reject a nice girl like that, but he tried to make excuses that he couldn't keep up with her, and he thought she chalked it up to his depression. Losing a decent lab partner was no big deal. He was happy to do it to keep Lizzie. Not to mention possibly avoiding a murder. But in the future, he worried that could be a real problem. Still, as time passed with no incidents, he began to think that it had been entirely his imagination, until one day at lunch. Something on your mind, Lizzie? Would you still have loved me if I'd killed her? Whoa, that's a heavy question to spring on someone. Honestly, I can't say for certain, since it didn't happen, but I think I'd still love you. You don't hurt people for malicious reasons. In the end, you're doing what you think is necessary for my sake. I love how dedicated you are to things, and I can never stick with anything. Wait, what? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I read that right. I can never stick with anything. Oh, okay. I'm a little stupid here. I love how dedicated you are to things. I can never stick with anything. So he was saying that in contrast to her dedication, okay. I was thinking he was talking about being, like, shaky on his decision here, but no, he was talking about that. Okay. Whew. Slow. Very slow. Actually, very slow. Okay. Is it okay? You still seem upset. Okay, so drop that. Save. Switch to a happy subject. Switch to a personal subject. Speculate about why she's upset. Make sure she doesn't plan to hurt anyone. I kind of wish there was a way to reassure her here. But since that's not an option. Okay, so I don't think switch to a happy subject is a good idea. I think that will just make it so, like, we're completely just dropping the subject completely. Make sure she doesn't hurt anyone. That makes me feel like we're going to press it too far. Speculate why she's upset. I don't... Actually, it really depends on what direction they mean by that. If they mean we're going to talk to her about it and, like, walk it through and try to adjust the issue, that's one thing. And I don't like how it says switch to a personal subject. You know what? I think I will go and speculate. We'll see. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Are you asking because you... That is... John! John, please. John. Johnny boy. Listen. There's something called tech, John. That is not. Wait, Okay, I'm going to click on the next one, but depending on what it is, I may roll this one back. Ah. Okay. Yes. Why? Okay. In elementary school, the other girls were unusually mean to me because I wouldn't play with them, but I didn't care. So eventually they ignored me. Except for one girl. She would come and hurt me every day at recess. She would do it to make the other children laugh. That's awful. Why didn't the teachers do anything? I don't know. I didn't care. I just can't believe they would let something like that happen to children. I hadn't ever reflected on it, but looking back now, I think I understand why. I became to a parent-teacher conference drunk. She shouted at the teachers. After that, they were convinced I was a problem child from a problem family. That's still horrible of them. John is so kind, but the world is not. I ignored the girl for a while, but she didn't stop. I couldn't be alone. So one day, when our class went on a trip, I pushed her off an edge. You aren't going to go on? You don't want to hear the details. You shouldn't have to hear them. She was a meaningless person. But she died? Yes. I made sure it looked like an accident. They thought I was a problem child, but they didn't understand how well I could lie. I see. Does this mean John hates me? No, not at all. I mean, it's serious, but I had no idea you went through that kind of thing. I feel awful for saying what I did earlier. I wasn't trying to accuse you or make you feel bad. May I hug you? Of course. Come here. She rushed to him quickly and held on tight. John stroked her hair and tried to come to terms with what he'd been told. John is so kind. I'm so happy you'll still hold me like this. Always. He wasn't sure if it was true, but in the moment he said it, it felt true. It better be, John. For your sake, for her sake, for all of our sakes. And also, I just think generally, not just because, you know, bad consequences will be for you if you don't, but I think it's generally in your best interest. The school year got away from him a little. Despite everything he'd been through, John found himself returning to something like a routine. He and Lizzie managed to act almost like a normal boyfriend and girlfriend. The occasional romantic date seemed to go a long way towards keeping her calm. The sky still looked very gray to him, but he felt lighter than he had in a long time. On occasion, he still headed to the library to try to look up more about Koitek, see if he could find out more about Lizzie's condition. It wasn't going terribly well. All he had to go on was old microfilm and random ideas, which was part of why he brought Lizzie here, but she seemed uninterested. Eventually, he had sat back and just shook his head. Maybe we're just not going to learn anything. Would that be bad? Maybe it's not. I've always wanted answers, explanations, a way to put things together. But when I got depressed, that didn't work. Chemicals and social structures and trends, none of that really explained it. Things just happen. Maybe this is like that. Maybe we don't need to worry about exact answers. We can just live our lives. I think that's a good way to think about it. Actually, that reminds me of something I've been wanting to ask you. The county fair is coming up next month. Can we go together? Well, I've always thought it was kind of a cheap event, but maybe it wouldn't be so bad with you. I know there wasn't a pause there, it just seemed like, I don't know. Yay! I'll look forward to it. It was only later that John remembered something some of his classmates had said. Elementary schools went to the fair to play games, middle schoolers went to the roller coasters, and high schoolers... Ah, yes, well, our boy John doesn't need to worry about that. And high schoolers went to get laid. Was that what Lizzie had been meaning to imply? She had been more physically affectionate ever since they'd had sex at her house, but never tried to take things that far again. But over the next several days, she didn't act any differently, and just seemed to look forward to it with innocent anticipation. So it felt awkward to bring it up, and the longer he didn't mention it, the stranger it got. And so, day by day, they eventually reached the date of the county fair. Lizzie met him at the edge of the fair, shifting from foot to foot eagerly. Her face lit up when she saw him, and she immediately hurried to meet him. Oh, you're finally here. This is going to be so much fun. I'm glad to spend time with you, but Honestly, I haven't gone to a fair in a few years. Oh, I think we can have so much fun. Besides, the important thing is that people will see us together. What? Dating doesn't really count unless a guy is willing to go to a fair with you. Guys don't like that. Wait, sorry. Guys don't talk like that. No, but I'm happy to be seen with you. Yay! Let's go. Let's go see what... let's go see what all they have. For a while, they just wandered, checking out all the attractions. Since the fair was still getting started up, it was easy to grab some food and cotton candy, which Lizzie happily fed him pieces of while they walked. Thinking about what being here together meant for her, John realized that he didn't mind. They really were boyfriend and girlfriend after all. Why not let people know? And if the relationship had some unique problems, hell, couples had broken up over much more trivial things than he had just been through. Sorry for the fragmented speech, guys. As the fairground started to get more crowded, Lizzie decided they should try out more attractions. She dragged him into a house of mirrors, which struck him as a strange choice. With mirrors on every side, the experience was a little disorienting. As far as he could tell, it was just a simple maze. As he got deeper into it, though, there started being more mirrors that intentionally twisted his shape into a distorted version of himself. Strange, but not overwhelming. That was the moment he realized that Lizzie was no longer with him. His first response was actually a moment of panic, as if he had gotten lost, when in fact she was much more capable of taking care of herself than he was. Lizzie? How the hell had she disappeared like that? All kinds of different pathways were reflected in the maze. He was sure he would have seen her leave. It was almost as if she just stepped into one of those mirrors and vanished. It was actually starting to make him uncomfortable. John? Lizzie, where'd you go? This way. Come find me. John stumbled through the house of mirrors, following her giggles. Where the heck was she? Had she gotten outside of the maze somehow? Given who she was, he should have been more nervous, yet he found that he was calm. Her laughter was playful, not crazed or vicious. Yoink! Without warning, Lizzie somehow popped up behind him and tugged him backward. Though, what he had thought was a normal wall. Through what he had thought was a normal wall, a door swung closed behind them. A secret door? He realized that he was inside a mirrored room with no other exit. This house of mirrors was apparently more complex than he thought. If it had a hidden room. Isn't this place neat? I found another secret passage too. Wow, that didn't take you long. She had grabbed him from behind and hadn't let go, so he became increasingly conscious of how she was pressed against his back. God, she was so soft. John, I'm so happy you came here with me. Lizzie, I know being with me can be hard on you, but you've never given up on me. I want to do something for you now, John. Is that okay? He swallowed and turned in her arms to kiss her. She kissed back, but when he put his arm around her, she slipped out of them, straight down, putting her at crotch level. Just let me be a normal girlfriend for a while, okay? I promise you'll enjoy it. John wasn't sure if this was really all that normal, but then she was unzipping his pants and all the rest of his thoughts flew away. Alright, no NSFW, so we can keep it in the video. Yeah, who knows what happened there? Ha 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 ha. Mystery, truly a mystery indeed. Okay. He leaned back against the mirrors, needing a moment to catch his breath. Lizzie seemed to have no trouble fixing her shirt and then coming to give him a hug. Wow, that felt amazing. Good. I liked it too. Maybe we can do more of it sometime. He liked that idea, but for now, he felt too relaxed. Lizzie took his hand and led him out of the maze effortlessly. Outside, the fair seemed far too loud and bright. It took him a second to even notice that someone was snickering at him. Are you fucking serious? You two came here to play around in the House of Mirrors? One of his classmates was there with his girlfriend, pawing at her chest while she giggled and swatted at his hand. They both leered at John and Lizzie, holding hands. I mean, what are you, 12? Okay, Lizzie. Not saying you have permission to kill him, but... No, guys, I'm just playing. Once taunts might have bothered him, but now John didn't care. He didn't even have any desire to prove that his friend was wrong. When he... John. We call them pests, not friends. Get your facts straight. Alright. When he thought about what Lizzie had done for him, and felt her squeeze his hand, he just didn't care. Come on, let's ditch those losers. His classmate's girlfriend led them away, and John didn't really care about that either. He gave Lizzie a smile, but she seemed slightly distant. Had the encounter bothered her more than him? He had hoped that she wasn't getting any dangerous urges again, yet Lizzie didn't say anything, instead letting him take her toward one of the food lines. But after they had been in line for only a short while, she slid closer to him and spoke softly. John, if you don't want me to kill, do you not want others to kill either? What are you talking about? If I knew about something, and I could stop it, do you want me to? Yes, of course. Lizzie, is something wrong? Then we have to go. She gripped his hand tightly and dragged him off of the line. There was a strange look in her eyes as she took him across the fairground, occasionally stopping to look for something, then shaking her head. He decided just to trust her, and trust that she would explain eventually. They headed to the edge of the fairground, where there were some basic warehouses. Stay here. She let go of his hand and moved into the alley, between two of them, but John wasn't going to be left alone. He followed her and froze. His classmate lay sprawled on the ground, his chest tore open. The sight made John sick, but before he looked away to vomit, he saw his classmate's pants were down around his ankles. Okay. Well, I just thought that girl was another one of the classmate bullies, but apparently not. So maybe we should change her voice a bit. Again, I don't have many girl voices. In fact, I don't have any girl voices. I just have a few voices that I use for girls. But let's give it a try. And the laugh made him look up toward the grisly scene again and spotted his classmate's girlfriend. She stood over his body with a box cutter utterly covered in blood. You're mine now. All mine. Without warning, the girl turned to him, eyes burning. And you can't have him. She let out another low laugh as her gaze focused on Lizzie. He's mine. Mine, mine, mine. I don't want him. You need to get control. Mine forever. The girl lunged at them, moving with jerky, erratic footsteps that still closed the gap between them in a flash. You know, I gotta say though, Lizzie is like really talented. Like, think about it. She was able to do, like, she's able to get the top of her class with barely any effort, which, I mean, granted, high school, it's not that hard to get good grades with minimal effort, depending on what level of classes you're on. I don't know if she's, like, in normal classes, honors, or AP or whatever. That's not really, I don't think that was really gone over. But yeah, if you're, like, a normal or regular classes, it's easy. Like, all you need to do is apply effort.
If you're not one of those people that can do that, I do apologize. I understand that some people have more trouble with it. But what I'm trying to say here is that, she's really able to do it effortlessly, which does denote some level of intelligence. On top of that, she's able to detect other people's murderous intent, which some people, if you watch a lot of anime, you're like, oh, well, that's just basic. I mean, in every anime, killers can sense other... No. In real life, that's not how it works. But she is able to do that, and she was able to figure that out just from watching them, which is pretty impressive. Granted, we don't have much to work on, so we don't know if there were clear signs or not. But again, she's pretty impressive. Yes, she has a few mental issues, but overall, a very impressive young lady. Yet while John was still flinching, Lizzie reacted. In a single smooth movement, she knocked away the box cutter. And she's good at combat. Woo! There we go. Cut her and spun the girl to the ground, ending up with her knee dug into her back. While the other girl thrashed and wailed, Lizzie gripped her hair and pulled her head up into a submissive hold. Be quiet. I'll kill you, you slut, you bitch. I'll tear you apart and bathe in your entrails. Oh. Okay. All right. I see you, Lizzie. Okay. All right. All right. Lizzie slit the girl's throat. John could only stare, utterly in shock, as the girl bled out, the insanity slowly leaving her eyes. Lizzie looked up at him sadly. I'm sorry, John. She really would have been a threat to you. What? What is going on? Was she, like me? No, not really. Or wait, no, not truly. Sorry, they mean the same thing pretty much, but, I'll correct it. As she spoke, Lizzie calmly got to her feet. Careful not to get blood on herself, she examined her knife and then took out a cloth to wipe it off carefully. I wonder if it would have been better for her to, now she's really gonna have to make sure that cloth gets, burned or something, so it's not seen. I wonder how she's gonna cover the evidence. We'll see. She was broken. Even more broken than I was before I found you. There aren't a whole lot more, are there? She was the only other one I knew of. But we didn't exactly talk. Okay, so Lizzie did know about it because she knew that she was one of them. But still, I mean, my statement earlier, I think, still stands. She shows a great deal of intellect, despite her issues due to Koitek, problems that they messed up the chemical balance in her brain a bit. Oh, God. Oh, God. What had happened caught up to him in a rush, and he found himself hyperventilating, stumbling back against the side of the warehouse. But before he could panic too much, Lizzie slipped up in front of him and kissed him gently. John, please run away with me. We need to leave before they're found. Just run away? Can we do that? We can. It's our only hope. The logistics of it dizzied him. He wasn't even sure exactly what he was agreeing to. He couldn't think with the two corpses lying so close by. After seeing Lizzie murder someone so coldly. No, he couldn't do it. John shuddered and took a step away from her. I can't. I can't. John, please, don't be afraid. You just slit her throat. You didn't even feel anything. You're afraid, John, and confused. Let me take care of you. Okay, John, listen here. Panicking here is a very, very bad and dangerous idea, and I just cut my own mouth with my teeth. Yeah, damn. Oh, okay. Before he could protest, she slipped a foul-smelling rag. I guess that is one way to calm someone down. Yeah. Oh, okay, Lizzie. Okay. No, you know what? Fair enough. In this situation, fair enough, Lizzie. I'll give it to you.
He's panicking. That's going to lead to him actually getting in more trouble. Not even if we can, even if we consider you a non-threat in this situation, he could still end up, being questioned by the police and having all sorts of issues with his depression. Could cause him even further issues. So, I think a good call. We'll see exactly what we do in the future to see if we can say for certain. But let's go ahead and continue reading.
He struggled uselessly until his world fell away. By the time they woke up, so I guess they were both sleeping, they were far from the fairground. Lizzie had already gathered most of the things they owned and taken them out of the city. He didn't know where she had gotten the car, didn't know what their plans were, didn't do anything but rock back and forth and try to breathe. When they stopped, Lizzie came to the back street and kissed him gently before snuggling up against him. He shivered, but he held her close. And the years ahead, they moved into a new town. He relied entirely on Lizzie, as she gave him a new identity, found him a job, and played the supportive housewife. Okay, so this one, we must have made a wrong choice somewhere. I think it was when we did the choice with going directly to confront her. I think it was there, but I'm not sure. Found him a job and played the supportive housewife. Sometimes he thought about running or disobeying her, but whenever he did, his mind flashed back to the image of Lizzie calmly slitting the other girl's throat.
As he became more and more withdrawn, he thought he saw sadness in Lizzie's eyes, but he didn't care. Every night they slept in the same bed, sometimes having sex, and sometimes Lizzie just whispering into his ear. His world grew more and more gray, until there was nothing left. Okay. Honestly, I think this bad ending could have actually been avoided just from John having a different mindset. But I think what we have to understand here is that John had already had that kind of depressed mindset, a very weak will. So seeing this kind of broke him. He's not, he's not strong-willed. He can't really deal with it properly. Though, to be honest, something I've actually, when I was trying to write Yandere stories back when I was first doing this whole Yandere game, I tried doing some stories. It's very difficult to actually do a strong male lead with a Yandere, especially one with strong willpower. They have to be the very sensical type of Yandere, or else the main character will kind of I don't know if I should say overpower them, but rather conflict with them, which kind of makes it not operate completely. So it's a very difficult one to manage there. So these kind of main characters are far more common in these kind of stories. We often see that. Hope Klim is stronger on another path. Restart the game for better results. So actually, the first time I played, I did get the good ending, I remember. I don't remember how to get there, and honestly, I'm glad about that, because I do want to do a fresh replay. So there you go, you actually saw me reach I wouldn't call it I guess it would be considered a bad end, or a neutral end, but it's certainly not the good end, because again, we broke John. We don't want to break John. We do want John to be happy, we want Lizzie to be happy. And, John being in that broken state isn't good for either of them. So, in our next video, we'll go back to one of our previous saves and continue from there. I think what we'll try first is we'll try going... I think we gotta go all the way back to where he went straight to Lizzie, because... On the other one, again, if we talk about the other ones, let me just pull it up here. If we go back to this option here, we don't really see any ones I see as a fantastic option here. Again, we might go over some of these later, but I want to try going back to this one. Oops, that was close. That was close. I want to go back to this one first and see what we can go over from here. Probably what we'll do is we'll leave without saying anything, or ask Miss Smith about how to stabilize someone. Again, I don't really want to do that because she is one of Koitek's people, but that may be our option after what we've seen. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will be back very soon. So, make sure to stay tuned. I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters.